Da 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 da
Da da
da
da
da.
How are you doing, man?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey everybody, welcome to the Saturday live stream here at RetroBlasting. Hope you guys are safe, hope you're well, hope you're healthy. We decided that this Saturday we would discuss an aspect of James Bond, the big aspect, but as you guys know, Aaron is the expert on the Ian Fleming novels, and so we didn't want to gloss over that. So what we've decided to do, we have one of his novels actually
because
that he brought over.
Aaron can't be here today.
Because Aaron can't be here
Yes.
today. So we have one of his novels over there just as a salute to the Ian Fleming books. But we're going to do another live stream at some point where Aaron is here and we go through the differences between the books and their movie counterparts. But don't worry that we're not recognizing the books. We're deliberately kind of staying away from the books until Aaron can be on the live stream. First of all, let us know in the comments if you can hear us. Let us know if you can't, whatever. But the reason that Tim and I decided to do this live stream today is because he and I have talked Bond a lot.
Oh yeah.
In the past. Yeah. And so we all thought that it would just be nice to sort of do this talk together rather than have like a panel of 50 or whatever.
Yeah, me and Michael's opinions on Bond can be very different at times. So,
Yes,
you
they
know.
can, yes. How are we looking, Melinda, on the levels?
Looks good. I just need to get my chat working, but other than that, yeah.
Okay. Well, so
Good.
Melinda's off camera doing the job that Tim normally does, so we've reversed some roles. All right.
So I'm disembodio in this particular one. So
Right.
we do have a super chat
Oh,
Thank you.
from Lio Convoy.
oh
And
wow.
He says, can't stay for the whole stream. Just wanted to thank Michael and the RetroBlasting community for the plethora of questions for my Thundercats video.
Oh yeah, Lio Convoy's doing he's doing a big Thundercats video about. It's almost like he's an animation expert, so he's doing a whole history of the Thundercats cartoon. But he decided to do it by taking questions from Thundercats fans about the show and the development of the show.
Possibly one of the biggest, and I can't remember what you call it, where you think the show played out something, but it's all in your imagination. The whole aging of Lion-O, and we all go,
the
well,
Mandela.
Jaga said there would be some
Right,
aging.
the Mandela effect.
And we all imagined it, but it didn't happen. kind
Right,
of thing.
exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, if you guys love Thundercats, just subscribe to Lio Convoy Reviews and wait for that video to drop. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so first, we've already determined that we don't really know what the first Bond movie we saw was, but do you remember how you were first exposed in general to James Bond?
Sure. I think the same way we all were Generation X is, before VCRs, early 80s, it was the Sunday night movie or the Saturday night movie on,
Yeah.
CBS, ABC, NBC. And for me, of course, it was all the Roger Moores, and I fell in love with them instantly to the point of where my parents would make a point that if one was coming on, we would watch it together. Great fun. I love those.
I'll never forget as a kid, that Star Tunnel. And then that guy's voice who did the promos.
Oh, yeah.
He was so cool. He's like, tonight on ABC, Roger Moore, James Bond is
For
back.
your eyes only.
Yeah, Moonraker. But yeah, I had the same experience. Like I watched a lot of Connerys and Roger Moores from that because we didn't have a VCR.
Yeah.
There was no way to watch movies at home except the ABC Saturday or Sunday night movie.
Yes.
And of course other channels ran them as well. But I do remember from those broadcasts, I specifically remember seeing From Russia with Love. I remember seeing Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, Moonraker, Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, yeah. For
and
your eyes only.
For Your Eyes Only. And then I'm missing another Roger Moore one that I definitely saw. I can't remember what it was off the top of my... Maybe it was Live and Let Die or something like that.
Did they play that one much?
I don't think
remember
that
one
was
much.
it, but it was one of... It was there was another one. Octopussy. They played
Yes.
Octopussy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because
that's
we were kids and we were like, did you hear what they called it? Did you hear what they said?
Yeah. What was that? So then my dad, I don't know about you, but my dad, who was of that generation, he was thrilled that I was watching James Bond and I
Mine
actually
too.
paid attention to it.
Yep.
The lights do that. He, for one birthday or Christmas, I can't remember, he got me VHS tapes of Dr. No, Goldfinger, and For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, wow.
And the For Your Eyes Only tape and the Dr. No tape were of an edition where they had Pink Panther cartoons at the beginning. It was weird.
You know, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't really know how these things marry up.
But for a while, you were like, are they made by the same person?
Right.
Because he
Yeah.
had the coat and he had the hat.
Yes.
And there were, I had
Well,
forgot all about that.
this was like the literal Pink Panther
Yes.
cartoon character. The
No, I
Panther,
remember,
yeah.
but remember
Yeah.
he had the
Yes.
khaki trench coat
Right.
and the hat.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
People are saying there are issues with the audio, and I have no idea how to fix it.
Oh, well, let me check.
Okay.
It says Michael sounds a little faint, and I apparently sound like I'm Tinny from another universe.
Well, hang on. Let's see
We're gonna
what we
fix
got.
the audio, guys. Sorry.
You can still talk.
I can still talk, but they're saying
They can
there's-
hear you. They just say you sound like you're far away or in a roomier room. So just,
They say I'm in a roomier room.
it sounds like you're in a big echoey room.
Well, that's weird. Well, do you have a microphone on your
Nope.
on your laptop? Is there a microphone on your laptop that's picking up?
What? That's
Something.
not transmitting
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's good on this end.
Tim, is it possible that Melinda's lav mic is picking up stuff because she's farther away?
Well, she's closer than you normally are with it.
It says audio is clear, just roomy.
Is the humidifier running?
I can turn that off.
Yeah, let's turn that
It
off.
says it sounds like you're using mics on the cameras and not the desk mics.
Well, there's no-
Everyone else, and then some people say it sounds perfect. So sometimes, you guys, it's just technology that we can't control.
Sorry.
We can't control the
listen to it in
internet.
the headphones?
Yeah, it sounded fine.
Okay,
I
well,
played with the games
It does
a little
sound
bit,
fine on our end. So
okay, well, I'm sorry that some of you are having issues, but please keep us posted about that. We'll try and talk
I think you
closer.
just sound different because you're on that mic. So maybe just. I don't know.
Okay, so I'll just talk closer into the mic, I guess. Is that better? Is it less? I guess we can do the whole.
Yeah, we can do the bend down. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have.
We'll play DJ and talk sideways.
I
into
have
the
some
mics.
super chats for
Okay.
you. So Scott says, in my opinion, the Bond movies after the fall of the Berlin Wall have been increasingly less engaging. Do you think Bond is inescapably tied to the Cold War, or is there room for Spectre in the modern world?
Ooh, that's a heady question
Mm-hmm.
right there. What do you think?
Go ahead. I see you have a thought.
I would say yes, but will it have that flavor? I think no, because, and I apologize, I don't know where you fall in the generational thing, but for Generation Xers, the 80s were full of fear from the Cold War, and, we were taught, Russia bad, communism bad. So I think that's irrevocably tied to James Bond for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think there's room, now for something for this generation. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, we've unfortunately seen no end to the variety of global conflicts that have happened over the last 20 years. And so writers of spy films, if they're saying that they can't write a Bond movie without a Cold War, I don't think they're trying hard enough. I mean, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
I did not care, as much as I like the Daniel Craig James Bond, I did not care for how Spectre was turned into a corporate conglomerate.
Right.
I didn't find that very attractive. It's almost like the story was too small.
Yes.
It was not big enough.
It's the easy out. It's like, well, guys, the whole thing that big business turns out to be the malignant evil, like the global malignant evil. That's a little much,
Yeah.
Like I I can get there with big business like, you know, John Lithgow in Santa Claus the movie, where he's like, I just want to sell as many candy canes to kids as I can. Like that, okay, I can get there with that, but telling me that like every single corporation in the world is going to be like Lex Luthor, we've already seen it with Lex Luthor. Let's do something else.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah. I like the Daniel Craig Bond films. Melinda and I have been rewatching. I don't like some as much as I like others. Casino Royale is far and away the best one of all of his movies. But I was just posting on my Facebook page the other day, I hadn't seen Quantum of Solace since I watched it back when it came out, and I hated it. And then I revisited it with Melinda just like last weekend or something, and I was watching it going, I was like, this doesn't suck as much as I remember it sucking. It's still nowhere near the top of the heap,
Right.
but it's not the worst Bond movie I've
Well,
ever
and
seen.
I ran into the same thing with Dalton, right? You know, License to Kill. If I go back to the early 90s when I first watched it, I was like, this is horrible.
Right.
And when you convinced me, just give it another try, it ages very well.
Yes, it
ages
well.
really,
Yes,
really well.
Yes,
So
it
I
ages
get that.
better. Yeah, whereas on the other hand, I have found, and I don't want to speak for everybody, remember, our opinions don't affect your opinions, okay? You're allowed to like or dislike whatever you want, so there's no personal affront here. But we can't have a substantive discussion unless we're both being real with one another.
Absolutely.
So, like, I feel like the last two Brosnan films are the opposite, where they are not aging well. I feel like they really went off the rails and were self-indulgent in a lot of areas on those last two, and I don't think time has been kind to them at all.
Oh, it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that right now, I think I told you Cinemax is playing Die Another Day right now over and over again, and I've watched it a few times, and the part of them in Cuba, I actually enjoyed that. That felt very Bond, but the minute it turns into the Ice Palace and the laser beam, and he's not really, he had his face change. It does not.
Yeah.
It doesn't flow very well after that point, you know. But interesting, like you talked about, the Brosnan films got me out of Bond.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I gave up on Bond after Die Another Day, and I was like, forget it. And I remember when Casino Royale came out, I regret it to this day. I never went to the theater to watch it.
I didn't see it in the theater either.
And I was like, I'm not going to because I'm worried. I don't, whatever. And then Aaron, of all people, had a copy of it, and he put it down and said, no, you have to watch it. And the minute that opening came on, I was like, have we learned something? Have we gone back to classic Bond?
Right.
And it is hands down my favorite Bond movie.
Oh, wow.
So I mean,
So
sure.
Roger Moore is your favorite Bond, but Casino Royale is your favorite Bond movie.
yeah, I'm a weirdo. We all know.
No. I'm just
Yeah.
verifying what I just heard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Keith Holmesley says the best Bond movie, in my opinion, was Attack of the Clones.
I agree 100%.
Okay, so I've got some super
It's
chats.
Blofeld. I have the high ground.
Wow.
Wrong movie.
I know, right?
Michael Hinkson says, good morning from the Eastern Sierra at the foothills of the Great Basin. My earliest Bond movie was For Your Eyes Only. It seemed everywhere.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I feel exactly the same way. If you recall
Agreed.
back when
Yes.
when HBO first started to become a thing.
Yep.
That was like one of those first Bond movies that showed up on HBO, and they played that movie. I mean,
As much as
for
Beastmaster?
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, absolutely. But I did love it. I love For Your Eyes
Yeah.
Only still. But you were absolutely right, and you were not imagining things.
Well, it's funny, Roger Moore said that he disliked certain aspects of For Your Eyes Only that are the reasons that we all think it ages better than a lot of other Bond films, because he didn't like the fact that they made James Bond like a harder-edged guy in that one movie, like when he kicks the dude off the cliff in the car.
Oh, I love
he was
that.
like, I wasn't really big on Bond doing
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, Roger, you're a nice guy. We love you to death. But you got to remember, you're playing an assassin.
Bond. Yes, you're
Yeah.
playing a guy who literally has a license to kill people.
Yeah. And to your point about For Your Eyes Only doing the rounds on cable, License to Kill did that too. Like in
Yes.
the early 90s,
Yes,
it was
it did.
on cable
You're right.
all the time. Yeah.
Thinkman says, for me personally, the James Bond movies were the first films that really made me want to learn about how movies are made. I think the behind the scenes adventures are just as exciting as the movies.
Yes. Now, I was watching the documentary on Spy Who Loved Me on the Blu-ray a few weeks ago. And you want to talk about, like you're talking about, that behind the scenes drama. I was now learning about the whole thing that happened where Harry Saltzman had over leveraged his stake in the company to get some more money, and then they called in the loans, and he had to sell his stake in Bond,
Yes.
and it got Spy Who Loved Me delayed, and then the Cubby Broccoli and his side of Eon had to buy those shares back from the bank in order to gain control of Bond again to get the movie going, and you know.
Do you think that had so? Question for you.
Mhm.
Do you think that had a lot to do with the tonal shift? Because if you think about it, The Spy Who Loved Me to me was that kind of tonal shift in Bond. And when I say tonal shift, I mean there's a lot of funnier moments. Like there's a little slapstick in there, and
Well, I wonder.
over the top villains.
There.
and-
Okay, I would say that that's an interesting path to walk down, except for the fact that Man with the Golden Gun and Live and Let Die both had iconic villains and slapstick moments, like the car
True.
going,
Yeah.
over the river, and Yaphet
No, good
Kotto
point.
literally blowing up like that kid in Willy
Yeah,
Wonka.
but that was awesome. That was awesome.
But my point in saying that is that I do agree with you that The Spy Who Loved Me took the movies back to you only live twice levels of scope. It was like, okay, I don't remember exactly what Yaphet Kotto wanted.
We're going to destroy the world now, not just...
Right, because what was his thing in Live and Let Die? He was trying to what?
Live and Let Die, he was trying to control the drug market.
Oh, okay.
So...
I'm sorry, but people are still complaining about the audio, and they're saying that I'm on mic and that I need to give you my mic. So I don't know, maybe they don't want to hear me talk. Or maybe this
Or swap
mic is
mics.
working better, but if you want to take this mic and just set it on the table so that you have an extra mic going in.
Or we can put the other one down real quick if you want.
How many
that.
people are saying that there's a problem?
It's hard to tell, babe. I'm
Okay.
just.
We'll keep going. How's that?
Well,
And I'll go get the other mic.
all right, guys, let's just take 60 seconds and let's do another audio check and see what's going on. Just stick with us. We'll try and solve this problem.
They're saying that I'm louder than you guys, and that it's.
flipped? Like, am I only getting picked up by your mic and you're only getting picked up by mine? Is it possible that these two need to flip here?
We can try that. Probably shouldn't make a difference.
Well, let's just make sure that that's the case, because this is one and it's going to
Should be yours.
It's
mine.
yours.
Okay.
And then the second one was mine. And I always put you on one, which is why I did
Okay.
that.
Well,
They're just saying that I'm a tad louder, so I guess I can set the mic. Hey
Here, let me
guys,
do this.
how about if I set the mic over here, far away from me?
There, we'll do that. Try that. That should be better.
Impossible Pi says it doesn't even sound like their mics are on.
Okay.
It's too quiet. I feel like something's either been pushed or.
Well, hang on a second. This is still hooked up, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Yes, please stand by, everyone, and all of you who have left super chats. I have made a note of them, and we will be reading them as soon as possible. This is what happens when Aaron isn't here.
What is this? That's the hard drive. Yeah, we're good.
Hold on, so you're sure that this is plugged in?
So, normally I would, sing to you guys or something, but so The mic that I'm talking into, Bob, is the lav mic, because I thought that it might be helpful if you could actually hear me read the super chats and the questions and things like that, because my voice is not super loud normally, although apparently today it's super loud.
Microphone's not on.
Yeah, there's nothing even plugged into.
The camera microphone's not on. There's nothing plugged into the camera. You need to say that to them.
The camera mic is not on, and there's nothing plugged into the camera that would be collecting sound. So that is not the issue. And literally all of the settings that we normally use for live stream are all exactly the same. So I have no idea.
Yeah, that's gonna go over well.
So
All right.
Okay, so I'm talking into this microphone now, and I need guys like Impossible Pie to get on the chat and tell me if this sounds better. In the immortal words of Uncle Buck, I'm getting mad, Bob.
Bob says yes.
Okay.
And other people are saying we could all hear you anyway, it's fine. There was never an audio problem. Some people are just complaining because my voice is louder than your voice.
Oh well,
We
it
know-
is a difference in mics. Lav
It
mics
says
operate
much,
differently.
much better. It's better.
Okay.
Good audio now.
Perfect.
Fine.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm blowing it out.
So now, that's great.
All right. So back to what we were talking about.
We have a ton. I'm not loud now, but guess what, guys? This is what you get.
What?
You
Why is
complained. This is as loud as I'm going to be, so you just...
she's not loud anymore?
It's-
What? First she was too loud. Now she's not loud.
Have
there
you-
something in the
have you
water
heard of-
today?
Have you heard of Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
Did we turn
I
her
have
mic
a
down or
fable
something?
for you.
No.
Travels with Jason F. says, the sounds sound okay here on my end. I have a ton of questions we need to get to.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do the
So
questions.
Let's do those, please.
Let's everybody else be quiet so that everybody can hear Melinda, because now she's not loud enough.
I'm going to yell. Wicked Person says, what if the next Bond film or actor is in a period piece set in the Cold War 70s?
Yeah.
Bond as a period piece.
Yeah, a lot of people get caught up that Bond is supposed to be a 60s thing, even though every Bond film has been contemporary to the time it was made.
Yes, and I don't know that would go over well, because we have to remember there's more than one Casino Royale,
Right,
but nobody remembers the first one.
because it was practically a spoof.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
And it was more of a period piece.
yeah.
Raymond says, in my humble opinion, Timothy Dalton is still the closest to the Ian Fleming character. It's a shame he didn't do more than one more movie. The first 40 minutes or so of The Living Daylights is truly awesome.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton is my favorite Bond by a long shot. And one of the things that I thought was so fascinating when I started digging into, as you can tell, I kind of have a thing for digging into the Timothy Dalton films, is that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that GoldenEye was written to be the third Bond film that Timothy Dalton would have been in. But then everything got caught up in litigation at the Eon Productions level for years, and which happens in the history of Bond. Now, obviously, when Pierce Brosnan was brought on, I'm sure they massaged the script, went through some changes or whatever. But if you watch GoldenEye compared to the other three Brosnan films, it has a distinctly different flavor and tone to the dialogue and the story structure than the other three movies. And just put Timothy Dalton in a lot of the scenes, and you can hear him saying those lines. It's pretty fascinating.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read this even though he says I didn't have to. It's from Bob. He says, you don't have to read this one, Melinda. Thanks for fixing the sound. It's what I do for my job, and you still sound good. We all love hearing you. So
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
maybe that was part of the problem is we're not, you should come on over, Bob, and you can be the sound engineer since that's what you do, and then it will be perfect, right? And I'm not just being sarcastic. I'm seriously saying that. All right, next super chat is Vinkman says, the Bond movies are also A big reason why I'm obsessed with collecting different home video versions. I would still watch the VHS tapes of For Your Eyes Only and Moonraker because the 1999 DVDs were terrible transfers.
Ah.
Good point.
Now, the Blu-rays of the Bond films were all done by Lowry Digital, who restored the Indiana Jones films. So these are some of the best remasters of movies, period, which is why I know that some of these films are now offered in 4K on streaming, but everybody's chomping at the bit to get the Bond Lowry Digital 4K remasters on 4K disc for their home collections, as am I. I mean, I'd give anything to have The Living Daylights on 4K. So it's just a waiting game.
Like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, but yeah, I think they're beautiful. To me, those movies are always beautiful. I mean, that was, again, as a 80s kid who, parents worked all the time, I didn't get to do a lot of traveling. And that was my way of traveling, is Bond went to all these sites and all these places, and it was just always really interesting to see how he fit in and what he experienced.
Well, that is the night and day aspect, though, of the DVD to the Blu-rays, that the DVD showcased all of the problems in the masters that the VHS tape wouldn't have shown you. So when I saw Goldfinger, I bought that on DVD and I watched it. I was like, wow, this movie looks rough. Like there's something wrong with I know for a fact it didn't look that way in 1963.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And then when the Lowry Digital people got their hands on it, they said, we're going to make sure that the negative gets restored and preserved. And and it looks great.
Funny enough, they still show the version that's really messy.
Really?
Yes, I just saw it. I'm going to say it's been about 6 months ago on, I want to say Encore.
Uh-huh.
They were doing the Bond month, which I was celebrating because every night I got to come home and watch Bond. But the Goldfinger version they were showing, you could hear the audio defects. You could see the visual defects, which I found really interesting.
That's weird.
That they were playing that version. But
yeah. It must be whatever. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We just have a lot of super chats.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
We're going to be quiet. Let you do super
Well,
chats.
I mean, you don't need to be quiet because that's literally the point, but I'm just saying. Scott Netson says, yeah, people who say Connery was totally serious and Moore was all camp aren't watching Diamonds Are Forever or The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the things I loved about Man with the Golden Gun, both as a kid and now, was the actual premise of the movie was so good.
Yes.
This guy that wants to kill all the double O's.
Oh, yeah.
And take them to this, this gauntlet. I thought that was great. Even now, I think that's great.
Well, any dude who has his own private island, I mean,
yeah.
hello.
Yeah. I
You
wish
wanna
my
know
name...
You want to know my favorite James Bond thing is when Tori Amos talks about James Bond and her
Talk
songs.
louder.
No, they can hear me just fine. And if they can't, they can suck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she mentions The Man with the Golden Gun multiple times in Cornflake Girl, the song. And she also talks about it like on her next album, where she says she got a little fun to fight for Moneypenny's rights. It's just sort of stuck in there in a little throwaway line in a song, a little short song. So that's really fun to me. My band t-shirt today is not a band t-shirt because I'm not on camera, because I have an eye thing going on. So it is a Luke Skywalker riding on a Tauntaun shirt, which Michael gave me. So King Eric says, is the Peter Sellers Casino Royale considered canon?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it is. I think it's just an odd standalone, kind of like Never Say Never Again. It's just...
Oh.
Well, I had to bring it up. I mean...
Is that even up here?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Neither is James Bond Jr.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Thank
James
God.
Bond. Somebody, I think, asked about that. Is that the cartoon?
It's the cartoon from the early 90s.
Yes.
That was an irony. I was living in England in the early 90s while in America a cartoon called James Bond Jr. was out,
on.
and I never knew about it till I got back.
I never knew about it.
Not a lot of people know about it.
No, it's
It was not very memorable.
No.
Oh man, this cut something off. Oh. I'll have to skip back and come back to that one. I can't see who made this post. Okay, Brian says, hey all, thanks for another great Saturday. What are your thoughts on Kevin McClory and what happened with Thunderball?
Are we talking about the lawsuit? I assume they're talking about the lawsuit.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, it was so early on.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about, the beginning of Bond, so I don't have a whole lot.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, after they did Thunderball, there was this weird legal kerfuffle, and the rights to Thunderball got shared. And so certain elements of Thunderball were co-owned in essence. And that's why the movie Never Say Never Again was even possible, because they were able to take those elements and write a kind of Bond movie with it that,
Yeah, it was almost like in name only.
Right.
Like a trademark or something.
Yeah. And so they were able to do this sort of thin remake of Thunderball. I'm not real sure how to feel about all that at the end of the day, except to say that as much as I love Irvin Kershner as a director for making The Empire Strikes Back and RoboCop 2, I might add, I am not a huge Never Say Never Again fan.
Yeah, that one's tough to like.
Yeah.
Really, it's tonally. Tonally is why it's tough to like for me anyways. So.
And it was competing directly with a Roger Moore film at the time.
Which is weird because when me and my dad, one of the few movies when I was young to go see Bond in the movie theater, my dad wanted to go see Never Say Never Again. And I even remember coming out of that movie going, that wasn't a good Bond movie.
No.
I remember thinking that. I was a kid. I was very young.
It was a hot mess.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, JD 1989 says, Michael, I have most of the big box CBS Fox Bond films except Dr. No and The Spy Who Loved Me. Took me years to collect, but worth it.
Nice. That's cool. The big boxes, no less, which those are early VHS packages.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, like the Star Wars one that actually has a shelf. Like the box has a tray that slides out to get to.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
Is that like the Seinfeld box set that turns into a coffee table? That's a coffee table book.
It was an early video cassette case design, and it was literally like the flap came down and then a plastic shelf pulled out. And
it always amazes me how some of these, and I guess when we're saying, but how creative they did get with some of the boxing and some of that stuff, the iconic stuff like Bond. I mean. And then they get, because like, I'm going to use Clone Wars. I bought some of the very first Clone Wars seasons. I mean, the minute they came out on Blu-ray, I was in the store looking for them. And the first 2 seasons come in this giant, and have a great illustration book of the drawings and the inspirations and Filoni and all that. And then all of a sudden by season 3, it's just a case and a slip in it. So, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, next super chat is Scuba Pete that says,
Scuba!
Yes.
Spy Who Loved Me was the first Bond at theater. I guess maybe for him?
Yes.
The underwater base and submarine Lotus stuck with me. I got the die-cast Stromberg Helen Lotus.
Nice.
What Bond toys did you guys have?
When I was a kid, I didn't have Bond toys. I had them by proxy. So I stayed. There was like an independent sort of daycare that a lady that was a friend of ours ran. Her name was Beatrice. And I would go over to her house when my mom went to work. And she had the submarine Lotus Hot Wheel. And I would play with that. And I want to say that she had another Bond car, but I can't remember what it was. But that was the closest I came to Bond toys.
I think that was all that really existed back then, at least for the region of the country that I lived in, which was in the southeast, of course, was the Hot Wheels. That was the only choice you had.
Yep.
Every now and then you could get from Matchbox when they did the planes, like some of the jets and things you saw in Bond, you could get a version of that, and try.
Right.
But
yeah, as far as the toys go, I think the toys were far more prevalent in the 60s and then in England in general. Like, for example, I know for a fact when the Brosnan films were at their height with GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies, in the English market, you could get like his new Walther as a toy pistol, and it was black
cool,
and it came on a card back, and everything. And then the Corgi stuff has been around for decades. The Corgi gadget cars with all the little, pop out, seats and stuff like that, and the headlight guns.
I want to see the Lotus that the Saudi prince bought and actually turned into a submarine car.
I
want to see that.
That would be interesting. Yeah, because that car, from everything that I've learned about it, it was like 4 different cars just to
Right.
each one do one transformative thing. So
Yeah, and he paid. Like, he bought the movie car and spent, I couldn't even imagine how much money. But there's several articles out there about how he had it converted to be a submarine and everything, like it does it all. I can't even imagine the engineering going into that.
I personally, knowing what I know about the Lotus,
From your DeLorean
From-
experience?
well, for those of you that don't know, the DeLorean is a Lotus Esprit under the skin, pretty much, with a engine bumped out the back another foot. But the Lotus Esprit is a fiberglass on a steel wishbone frame. So I don't think I'd want it as a submarine. Like, I don't think that'd be wise. Yes.
Lots of questions.
Oh, lots of questions. Sorry.
Vinkman says, when I was collecting all the different home video... Did I read this one already?
No, go ahead.
When I was collecting all the different home video releases of the Bond films and I got to the 1988 gold foil VHS tapes, I made it a point to get the later versions that don't have the Pink Panther cartoons on them.
Okay.
Oh, I guess that helps with the box art or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah.
A World Made of Cardboard says, when I see a Daniel Craig Bond film, I only see Chuckles the movie. I have that issue as well.
And it's all his fault.
You're welcome.
It's all his
You're
fault.
welcome.
And I can tell you, my mind was blown when you pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh no.
Uh-huh.
Let me just tell you, as a longtime friend of Michael French, I used to watch movies and enjoy them.
Yeah, imagine what it feels like to be me.
Right? So after knowing Michael, and dude is from just as brilliant in my mind. I do. I feel that way. But as he points things out, I find that even now when I'm not around Michael and I'm sitting home with my wonderful wife, and I'm like, God, that lighting was horrible. Or, boy, that cutscene, they didn't even do that right. And I just go, oh my God, what am I doing? I just want to enjoy a movie.
Good luck. Good luck. You know, I still remember the vacation that Michael and I, the romantic vacation that we went on to this cabin in the woods where we actually filmed the Chuckles interview where he's pretending to be the video producer or the movie director or whatever it
Yes.
was. And, yeah, work always finds a way to get in there. But every time I think of James Bond, and then I think of Daniel Craig, and then I think of Chuckles, and then I think of that cabin. And the little lizards that were outside.
Which could be in a Bond movie.
It was great.
It could
I mean,
be in a
it's
Bond
a great
movie.
Look,
little chain of...
Yeah. it
I
is.
couldn't help it because what happened were that's right. My brother and I did see Casino Royale in the theater. I couldn't remember. I didn't see Quantum in the theater. I saw that on disc. So my brother and I go to see Casino Royale in the theater, and we're sitting there, and the screen comes up, and the movie starts playing out, and then credits, and then it goes to the opening after the credits in Africa, wherever they were. And at first, he's just giving orders to somebody else, so you can't kind of see him because he's obscured by the crowd. And then when that guy messes up and the dude gets away, suddenly he starts doing that Daniel Craig run, and he jumps out. And my brain was immediately going, there's Chuckles. Like, he's literally dressed and looks like Chuckles. And I looked over at my brother, and this was 2006 when this movie came out, or 2000?
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah, something like that. So we're easily 20 years out from Chuckles at that point, but he's never left my memory. And I'm because I read the comics, the G.I. Joe comics. So I look over at my brother, and I'm like, and he's like, what? And I'm like,
It's Chuckles. It's
damn Chuckles. And he was like, oh my God. And so we're watching the whole sequence, and it's just, all we can hear is G.I. Joe. Da, 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 da.
I bet the people around you were real happy
Oh,
with
well,
you.
fortunately, we saw it at a matinee, so it was kind of sparse. But yeah, it's never left me. Yeah.
All right, Bob says, how do you compare Fleming's stories to John le Carré's, if at all? Do you know who I'm talking about? I guess
I
maybe
think
I've
you know,
pronounced that
so
wrong.
That's more of an Aaron question, to be honest. I think we
Yeah.
should save that
I think
one.
we're going to have to stick a pin in that one, Bob, and
Yeah.
then wait till Aaron is here, because Aaron has read all the books and probably similar books, because he's really into that.
Again, I'm a weirdo.
He's super literate. And
Yeah,
I'm not. for sure.
I am.
What are books?
I don't.
I'm not saying
If
that
when I read a series of books that I really love, I don't want them made into movies because I know almost every time I'm going to be disappointed. So I avoid reading the books of movies that I love because I don't want that disappointment. So,
although I will say that revisiting certain movie novelization, obviously the Ian Fleming stuff, it's reversed. The book was first, then they made a movie, and sometimes the movie just has the title.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I was reading for the first time since childhood the novelization of Star Wars. I've been reading it as a possible Star Wars Follies. Oh my God, gold! It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Gold, Jerry.
There is I'm not even 2 chapters into this book, okay? And there's the scene where Darth Vader and Princess Leia are arguing on the right. She gets captured. No, she gets captured.
Oh, in the ship.
In the ship, and he's like, "You're a traitor," and all this kind of stuff. She spits in his face.
We have so many people in the chat from Scotland, and I think that that's awesome. And I think we should dedicate the show to Scotland.
All right, we will dedicate this.
James Bond.
We will dedicate this show to Scotland. Dedicated.
You should do your.
No, I should not. I will not insult Scottish people.
I bet Scottish people would be happy that you even tried.
They would find it.
I don't think so.
He is quite
Scottish
funny.
People, like, I've been really enjoying watching a lot of your television, the few shows that are over here available for Americans to watch. And I feel like after watching many hours of it that I am getting very accustomed to hearing the accent. And so I feel like I can understand it a lot better now, which for me is saying something because I have like just enough of a hearing loss.
But there are different. There are different regions.
Oh, there are different parts.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Scottish is one thing, just like any other accent. It's like American to a British person is all one thing, but to us it is not. And I know that's true. But
I don't want to insult Scotland, but I want a real kilt so badly. I really do. It's a thing, and I want
my
one.
My ancestors are from Scotland.
That's what I was fixing to say. My ancestors are from Whitetown in Scotland. Mm-hmm. So right on the border with UK.
That's the name of the town. He wasn't making a joke.
Yes.
Father Ted rules. Father Ted does rule. I've watched Father Ted. So anyway, okay, enough of that. All right. Next question. CM Shazam says, "Hey, RetroBlasting. I'm a Sufi Muslim and went to Turkey for religious pilgrimage. I had this awesome spiritual experience mixed with super nostalgia at the Blue Mosque because of Bond."
Oh, nice. Yeah, that would have been from Russia with Love, right?
Either that or The Spy Who Loved Me.
That was in Cairo.
Cairo.
Yeah.
Well, but I thought they filmed the bar scene in Turkey, didn't they? I'm thinking back to I may be crossing the streams.
Well, I know that From Russia with Love is in Istanbul.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that one.
Is.
But yeah. It's a beautiful city. I would love to go there one day, but I haven't been yet. I've only gotten as far east into Europe as Salzburg, Austria. So
Mike Ippolito says, "What's your take on George Lazenby as Bond?"
The name of he who shall not be spoken. Is that where we're going? You notice we have avoided that. Is that DVD even up here? I don't think.
I don't own that DVD.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, he's cameoing. He's at the far left on the cover of that book, the tallest book.
You can hear me breathing. Sighing.
This is me breathing. Okay, so
I like to pretend that doesn't exist.
I have a number of friends who are Bond aficionados, and they love that movie. And in film school, one of those friends really said, "We've got to sit down and watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service because you've never seen it." And I said, "All right," because it had come out on DVD or whatever. And so we sat down and we watched it. And I sat there and I watched it all the way through. This was before a cell phone could distract you. This was before internet wasn't tethered to a computer. There was no Wi-Fi back then. So we watched the movie. And I honestly was trying to figure out what the fascination was with that film. I couldn't plug into it. I couldn't get my head around it.
Well, and the documentary to that movie makes so much more sense. When you hear kind of the difficulty and the attitudes that prevailed, which would be why there's no more than one of those movies. So,
well, sure.
I mean,
I know that, but from what I understand, the audience at the time was just fine with Lazenby as Bond. But then he got bad advice from his agent and walked away from the role, which, again, that's just one of those stories. As far as the actual movie is concerned, though, I haven't gotten a read yet on did it do well? Did it not do well? I don't know.
It's funny that it's not one that ever really shows its face very often.
Yeah, it truly is an outlier. And I know that there's a lot of people that like it. My friend Tom, he's a massive Bond fan, and he's always trying to tell me to revisit that movie and give it another shake. And I just haven't done it yet because...
Is it bad? Because I'll watch it if it's bad.
Oh.
It's not.
I mean, some people are saying, you should give him a break.
Well, okay. So.
Oh God, are they doing that thing where you're being too harsh?
No.
Is that what
No,
it
it
is?
just says George is good, give him a break.
It's not George. I just said it has nothing to do with George Lazenby.
I categorize this one with Her Majesty's Secret Service. The only one I hate, and I hate is a strong word, as much as Her Majesty's Secret Service is Skyfall. And I may get a lot of hate for it, but I hate this one just
Isn't
as
the
much.
The Skyfall one where they go to the house?
Yes.
I like
It's
that one.
just
I like
bad.
Everybody has their opinion. She
Yeah.
likes Skyfall. You don't. But nobody's sitting here saying what.
I'm sorry, I have so many super
Okay,
chats.
well then please, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Nobody's
And this
dogging
is-
on Lazenby.
This
okay?
is not a super chat, but 40,000 people have asked it. So I'm going to say, who do you think was the hottest Bond girl? I'm going to say Judi Dench.
I'm very bad with the names, but I will say Man with the Golden Gun.
Britt Eklund.
Yes, she was. It's a tie for me between her and The Spy Who Loved
Barbara
Me.
Bach.
Barbara Bach.
Okay.
There's a tie for me for those
Okay,
two.
Britt Eklund and Barbara Bach are his picks for the hottest Bond girl.
Hottest Bond girl.
For me, I'm running back through everything real quick. As much as it's not gonna ever be in my top 5 Bond films, I always liked Isabella Scorupco from GoldenEye, the girl right there that he's making out with on the cover of that one. I always thought she was really gorgeous, and oddly enough, for whatever reason, I always liked Dink from GoldenEye, or Goldfinger, who was only in like 30 seconds of the movie, but I thought Dink was really hot. So,
Well, it's also like everybody's obsessed with Plenty O'Toole.
oh yeah,
Everybody's obsessed with her, and she was in like 30 seconds of it and
right.
thrown out.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Are Forever, thrown out a window.
And she was Natalie Wood's sister. That's
really?
That's,
I did not. Again,
That-
something I never
Humbly
realized.
says Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue is not. Kylie Minogue is sadly.
Still, you could just still say it.
I could, but I was thinking about this before we set up the live stream today. Kylie Minogue would have been a great Bond girl, and I don't know why she's never been given the option to do a Bond theme. I think she
Oh, that's a great
That's a
point.
good
I do
point.
agree with you there.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree.
I
with you
think
on that, too.
that would have been a great twofer. Like I'd have loved
And
that.
had Michael Hutchins lived, NXS would have been a great band to do a
I think
I mean-
Madonna ruined that for everybody. You know, she was.
Well, that leads to a question that I don't know. Someone may have asked, but what is the worst theme song
Oh,
Yeah,
in any of
that's
the movies? I know what
probably-
Michael's pick is, but
the worst theme song is going to be from Spectre. That theme song is horrible. And
isn't that the emo guy that's kind of like?
yeah, he's
I don't know. As much as I like 80s Madonna, Die Another Day is pretty horrible.
Well, notice I'm not putting that in my top themes either. There's a lot of middle there.
When we were listening to all the themes and that song came up, I was like, "Oh my lord, what is that?" And he was like, "That's that one from is it Spectre?"
Spectre.
Oof.
Oh, it almost makes the theme
Is it
sequence.
Radiohead? Who does that?
No, it's some solo artist. It is such a bad song. I can barely get through the title sequence of Spectre. It's just like.
Raymond Hoey says, who besides me thinks that Surrender by Katie Lang should have been used as the opening song to Tomorrow Never Dies and not Sheryl Crow's title song? I don't know, but I would say Sheryl Crow was a weird choice.
Yeah, they did a
James
lot
Bond.
of weird choices, though, around
Well, that was a weird movie. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
True.
So, I mean, not to, look, I think we all feel the same way. Pierce Brosnan, when he was on network TV in Remington Steele, there's not a person in the United States that did not go, man, that guy was made to be James Bond. He was born to be James
Absolutely
Bond.
true.
And when he finally got the chance, I don't blame him.
Right.
I blame the writers
Yes.
and I blame the producers, but his movies are some of the worst. And
Yeah.
it's
not
just
his
like,
fault,
it's
much
not
like
his
the
fault.
whole Lazenby thing.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
blame. I've never blamed a Bond actor for a bad Bond film. I've always blamed the writing. Always blame
Yes.
the writing. It's not the
generally
star.
not just Bond. It's any movie.
Yeah, right.
Don't blame the actor. I
Right.
mean, unless they're literally just.
Well,
Well, there's a few that I blame.
Aside from
So.
GoldenEye, the other three Brosnan films feel like they desperately, at the time, wrongly, because the Dalton films have aged a lot better than anybody
Oh,
would have
yeah.
expected.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, they thought, oh God, we've made a mistake tonally shifting away from the Moore era. And so the Brosnan films feel like a tacked on extension of the Moore era in a lot of ways. And I think that was a mistake.
And they failed.
Lots
Oh,
of,
yeah.
Lots of people are calling out Aha and
Yes.
what's the other one we like? Not the one you were
Duran
listening-
Duran?
Duran.
Yeah.
And Garbage as the three really great ones.
Yeah, The Garbage World Is Not Enough is a really
That
good
one's
theme.
really good. I also think that is it Soundgarden or Chris Cornell?
Chris Cornell from
I-
Casino Royale.
I
I
hate
feel
to
like-
say it.
I really like that song. I know some people don't like it, but
I
I
love
think
the
Chris
Casino
Cornell is
Royale
freaking
Oh,
theme.
I love all of those.
Yeah.
But I have to say, my favorite Bond theme is Gladys Knight with License to Kill.
Oh yeah, the License to Kill theme is awesome.
It's wonderful.
It's amazing.
Love that.
It's
Even to this
amazing.
day, it's on my
Impossible
playlist.
Pie wants to know which song Aha did.
Aha did Living Daylights.
Yes.
Yeah, which is probably my favorite. Of
Yeah,
all.
Living Daylights is great. I like Tina Turner's Goldeneye song.
I do,
I thought
too.
that was strong.
Yeah, I mean, I like the, but
Yeah.
but to me, still, License to Kill was just a really good song.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, License to Kill's amazing.
All right. Zigma Experiment says the Thunderball lawsuit predates the movie and is one of the reasons why EON were so keen to get it made while Fleming was alive and McClory agreeable.
Yeah.
That would make sense because Fleming was still around. So.
Oh, and I should probably point out, thanks to that being mentioned, that Thunderball, while not one of my favorite Bond films, also has very attractive Bond women in it. So yeah both of them.
Okay. Wicked Person says, did the humor land with you as kids, or was it mainly an action adventure?
Great question.
I thought it was just dad jokes, and that it was a movie made for my dad, which is why I personally never really liked Bond all that much. But that's
Yeah.
why I'm not sitting at the table, you guys.
I never picked. I mean, there was a lot of the humor I didn't pick up on because I was a kid. But I think even as I got older, I mean, I love Roger Moore is my favorite Bond, and I love some of the cheesiness. Like it's like Moonraker. I mean, most people hate Moonraker.
Mm-hmm.
I do love all of Moonraker except the last 15 minutes because the space scene and the
Yeah.
space. I mean, that is pretty horrible. I will admit. But everything leading up to that point, I thought was really great. I loved it when they were at Carnival, and I
Can
thought
we mention
you know,
the whole like Buffy the Vampire Slayer conversation about Moonraker and the different Bonds and them arguing? Like the do you remember? You remember that, right?
I don't know that I remember that. I haven't watched Buffy
The
in a
three
very
nerd
long
guys,
time.
and they're all in the van, and they're arguing
Oh,
about.
right,
like,
right.
Jonathan really loves Moonraker, and the other two guys are like, "You're ridiculous, for liking
You're
that."
crazy. Well, I mean, I get why.
I had to give that a shout out because it's so.
And somebody,
well-known.
one of them says he loves Timothy Dalton the best at the end, right?
Yeah, it may be the guy who's the guy that kills,
Right,
Tara.
right.
But I can't recall if it was him or Andrew. It was one of them. Maybe Andrew. It seems more like an Andrew thing to say.
I when it came to Moonraker, I saw that on the Saturday night or Sunday night movie, whatever it was, and I just remember the whole thing where the laser guns, the laser fight. That as a child was the one thing. Yeah. But as far as humor in the Bond films, as I said, my dad bought me Goldfinger and For Your Eyes Only and Dr. No on. He bought me those on VHS. And I did find it funny as a kid when Bond wakes up in the private jet of Art Goldfinger, and he asks the stewardess if he can go change in the back cabin, and she keeps trying to spy on him, and he keeps like covering up the areas. That was legitimately funny as a kid to me. I got the humor. So yeah, some of the humor did land just fine.
Okay, next super chat. Wicked Person says, nope, that was the one I just read. Scott says, Q rolls up to your home and offers you one vehicle from any of the movies. What do you ask?
That's an easy answer for me. You go ahead.
Definitely the Lotus submarine car. I mean, it's gotta be.
My easy answer is the 1987 Aston Martin V8 Vantage from the Living Daylights, which is right here and right there and in my heart. Yeah.
I would agree with you, Michael.
And I'll tell you this, people think the DeLorean is my favorite car. It's not. This Aston right here is my favorite car of all time.
As somebody who has spent more than one summer helping Michael work on the DeLorean, I concur.
Yeah. Yeah. But you realize that this is also a British-made car.
Well, and that's what we said. We were talking earlier, and I said, as pretty as they are, I don't know that they have the longevity of a American-made car. Sorry.
What this car has, unfortunately, that the DeLorean does not have, by and large, this car has a lot more rusting issues because of the body also being steel.
I mean, doesn't surprise me. Look at the environment. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Keith Holmesley says, Tim Witten, who do you think would make a good modern Bond girl? Jennifer Lawrence for me.
If I didn't know so much about her attitude, I might agree with you.
I know Michael wouldn't agree with that.
No.
Believe it or not, and if my wife is watching, and I'm sure she is, she's screaming into the camera right now, because yes, one of the if I had to go back to being a teenage boy and who I liked, Eliza Dushku, I think is fantastically beautiful,
a good choice.
And I think she would make a great Bond girl
from like the '90s. Christina Hendricks.
That one would have been really good too.
Freaking
yes,
awesome.
Yes,
that's who I would pick.
I'd pick Kylie Minogue. I think
For
she would.
Stiff Kittens, I agree. Betty White would be a great Bond girl.
Oh, that one would be awesome,
right?
wouldn't it?
Oh,
that would be great. She needs to play the Queen.
Well, Betty White,
like Bond finally gets to meet the Queen, and it's Betty White.
Well, that's the shame of it, is that Betty White could be the new J.D. Pepper. She could be like that kind of character where she recurs in multiple films, and she's not a Bond girl, but she's like a Bond character like he was.
That's a good
in
point.
like 3 or 4 movies, she shows up for a scene or two. I think that'd be funny.
David Pasquarella says, who is your favorite Felix Leiter?
Felix.
For me, Jack Lord was my favorite. A shame we never saw him in the role again.
The latest Felix, I think.
I like him.
He was in Casino Royale.
Mm-hmm.
He was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I thought he was great.
Wilson Tortosa says Betty White should be a Bond villain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I like that
Good
idea.
one, too. That's
a
good one. Yes.
I love that scene where he's like ticked that Vesper won't give him the $5 million extension.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts stalking out and grabs a knife, and then he bumps into him, and he's like, I'm bleeding chips. He's like, I'm not going to last, another hour.
He's like, what about the money? He goes, does it look like we need the money?
Yeah. just give me the rest or whatever.
Fade to Black says, Melinda, why Christina from the 90s? Why not Christina today? I'm fine with Christina today, too. I guess I was specifically thinking of her in Firefly.
That would have been 2002.
Okay, well, in my head, that's in the 90s, but you're right. So I was thinking
she would be
of her, like, specifically that, almost like that character Saffron that she was in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, she would be a fantastic Bond.
Because she's kind of evil, and most of the quote-unquote Bond girls turn out to be kind of evil, right?
Some of them do.
Yeah, the only one I really hated was in the Pierce Brosnan. Snow.
Betty White in The Man with the Golden Girl.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's
Nice.
hilarious.
You're talking about World Is Not Enough?
World is not enough. Gosh,
Sophie Marceau.
Oh,
Yeah, from Braveheart.
oh,
Yeah.
horrible.
She tries to choke him to break his neck with that chair.
With that weird chair.
Yeah.
JD 1989 says, "Who is your favorite Blofeld?"
Oh, that's a good one.
Mine will always be Donald Pleasance
Yes.
because he was the inspiration.
I agree.
I mean, he was so iconic that Dr. Evil was just ganked right from him.
Yes.
You know? But he was great. Okay.
And even though the story of the cat, when he's having to hold the cat and the explosions are happening, and like they talk about the fact that blood was literally like dripping from his arms.
Yeah, to hold
because
that
this cat was like, you know, and you can actually see it in the movie if you look. That cat is like,
Yeah, the cat's like, get me out of here. The other Blofeld I really like, and this is kind of a cop-out answer, but I do mean it. The hilarious faceless Blofeld at the beginning of For Your Eyes Only that gets dropped down a huge brick chimney. And there's some reason, if I recall, there's some reason why some lawsuit had happened or something, and they couldn't talk about Spectre anymore for a while.
Yeah, they couldn't use him anymore, so they had to tie up that loose end, and that's how they do it.
Right.
But if you think about it, For Your Eyes Only has the wrap-up of Blofeld, and he's visiting his wife's grave, and you're like,
right.
bah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I also love the scene in For Your Eyes Only where they try and get into his Lotus, and it just blows up.
Zigma Experiment says, "I urge you to listen to the Johnny Cash version of Thunderball. It is super weird."
Okay.
I have to listen to that.
Okay, we're going to be listening to that as soon as we're done here because it sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing. Ashraf Murad says, "Your thoughts, does every Bond actor represent the same person, or is each actor a different spy who's assigned the 007 James Bond code name?"
That is a great question.
Answer it, sir. Answer it.
I say yes. I like to think that all of the ones we talk about are in continuity, and you know, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, they are all 007 and named James Bond, but they are granted that status, right?
Which is why the dead wife thing messes that up a little bit, and why it shouldn't have been a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and there's no evidence of that being a fact or whatever, but I do like to.
Yeah.
It's a question I think we've all asked at one point or another.
It's the only way to really reconcile the whole series that never ends, because since Bond is always contemporary, they never kept him in the 60s. You have to then I've always thought that you would never go around with a 00 number but then also use your quote-unquote real name. I believe that your name is assigned to your number, and you are given identity papers with that name. So, yeah, every 007 is James Bond.
Yes.
There's just been a number of them. That's my headcanon.
Great question.
And I'm going to, signal boost my question that I put out in the chat. What is the best Scottish dessert? All you Scottish people. I know you're saying deep-fried anything is what's amazing. So just tell me, because I want to, start making some Scottish desserts.
Yes.
Okay, Vinkman says, "To me, the original James Bond movies end with License to Kill. The Brosnan and Craig films are both alternate universes."
Well, that's a good way to look at it too. I hadn't thought of that.
Or we can all just agree that the 90s was just didn't happen. I mean,
there's a lot of reasons we'd like to say that.
I mean,
most music,
okay,
for example.
we lived through the 90s. I get it. I just don't have the love for the 90s that I did for the 80s
guys,
or even the aughts.
I really feel
Even the
like
aughts.
the fashion in the 90s is honestly worse than the 80s.
I'm
Looking
almost
back
there
on
with
it
you.
now, when you look at it and you see it in a movie, you're like, ooh, the dark burgundy lipstick on all women, and those weird short page boy haircuts that girls had, woof.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Real unfortunate. That's when everybody started getting pierced and tattooed to the end of time.
Very true.
I mean, it's just okay, it used to be edgy, but now it's just mainstream, you know?
I'm going to be different. No,
No,
you're
you're
literally
not.
like everybody.
Yeah, you're literally
not.
everybody. Congratulations.
You may as well get your like early '90s duck head shirt.
I had a guy the other day on
like the '80s, your members only jacket.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had a guy the other day on Instagram, of all places, Instagram. I don't post pictures of myself on Instagram.
You're an Instagram model, don't lie.
Yeah, right. I'm just like. I had a guy the
Just woke up, who dis?
yeah. My delete later IDK. I had a guy on Instagram. I just posted a photo of that AT-AT of all things, and let's not get into the AT versus AT-AT thing here. Give it a rest. But he just lit into me. He was like, you need to iron your shirt. He's like, and you need to like, you look strung out, and you need to like suck in your gut. And then he goes, and you need to get rid of your Sandy Duncan haircut. And I'm like, really? I'm like, so speaking to your whole point about
Your
90s,
response should have been, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful."
I agree.
but I'm sitting there
I
like,
do think you're very beautiful, Michael.
You are
Thank
so
you.
pretty.
So
but I was just like, wow, like when did people become so trendy with all of their? I guess there's always been trends, but like,
well, I'm a fat guy. Looks have never been anything that I've been able to enjoy.
well,
I don't know, Michael. That's
I had the same.
it's not a problem I've ever had.
I've never had that problem either, which is why I thought it was so funny that
Michael,
the guy
your
was.
pretty privilege is showing.
I think his point is that I didn't look pretty enough, that I looked really goofy, and I'm like.
Look, if that's the only thing he has to complain about,
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just sitting there, just kind of aghast. Like
I guess.
when we were kids, as boys, right, and growing up into adulthood, right. It was never taught among men, and bond. We're having a bond discussion, right? It was never taught among men that it's like, remember, son, if one of your friends has what you think is a dorky haircut, you should call him out on it. Like, no,
very true.
Nobody
Very
did
true.
that. Like,
No,
nobody. Yeah. Like,
we never cared about it.
No, we didn't care.
We had our friends that were our friends, and
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Vinkman says, favorite Bond actor. Connery was the best, Moore is my personal favorite, and Dalton is the closest to the Fleming novel, or Fleming original.
I'll tell you this. Dalton is my favorite, but I also like Connery and Craig, and I do like Roger Moore. He's growing on me more as I get older, much in the same way that Back to the Future 3 is growing on me more. I always liked elements of his movies, but there was a time in my 20s where I was like, I don't like this era.
This old man being a Bond.
And now it's not as big a deal for me.
When you think of James Bond, whose face comes to your mind? Like, if I say James Bond, first thing that comes to your
I
mind.
think of Timothy Dalton behind the wheel saying, I've had a few optional extras installed. That's what I think.
Roger Moore for me.
Roger Moore?
I
And
would
it's-
say
I
Sean
agree,
Connery.
yeah.
See, I just...
Yeah,
Okay.
it's different. It's different, but I'm a big Roger Moore fan.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, I think my favorite Bond is Timothy Dalton.
Living Daylights?
But I still, for some reason, that literal picture that's on the life thing on the table there is the picture in my head. When you say the words James Bond, it just flashes in my
Well,
head.
if you remember, our parents used to beat in our head that, at least my father did, that Sean Connery was he's the real James Bond, not Roger Moore.
No one will ever beat Sean Connery.
My dad beat that into me, so I think that's probably why some of us see Sean Connery, but...
I think for me, it's just, as much as like Sean Connery is kind of a sexist pig and whatever, he's got that sexy Scottish accent, which I really do enjoy a lot. So I just pretend that he doesn't act that way, and I just...
So is that what it takes to be forgiven for being a sexist pig,
Kinda,
is a
well,
Scottish accent?
I mean, it helps.
It helps.
I'm not saying I'd really give you a pass, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm picturing you, then it's just a still picture and you're not speaking. But it's still just... I don't know. I do think
You have a wonderful mind, Melinda. Have I ever told you that? You have absolutely wonderful mind.
Thank you. I want my pretty mind back. Those of you who love Girl in the Gold Boots, that's for you. All right. Oh, crap. I lost who said this. I've been copy pasting these over. Hopefully, okay, I'm going to come back to this question. All right, Jody says, greetings, just jumped on. Was expecting Aaron as well. Isn't he the biggest Ian Fleming geek amongst you all? Great to see Tim on cam again. Did we already do Tim the Tim is Tim?
I told you somebody would do this, and it happens to be Jody. Jody, you're late to the stream, dude. So here's what's the deal, okay?
For all the people who,
Yeah, for everybody who's just joined in the last hour, Aaron is the biggest Ian Fleming novel expert. Therefore, we are going to do another live stream where we talk about the books versus the movies, and Aaron will be a part of that.
So we are not talking about that today.
We are not talking about that today, but we have a book up there from his collection that we put there to remind everybody.
Jody sent him.
Yes, this is one of the ones that...
I literally went over to Aaron's house yesterday just to get all of the books. Because he had obviously taken them home.
Yes, it's one of Aaron's children's birthday weekend.
He had a family thing to do this weekend, so he can't be with us. But we will, within the next 6 months to a year, we will do another James Bond thing that's a little different topic.
It's like Bionic 6. It's always next month, Tim, but,
Scott says, can we talk for a moment about the amazing stunts in the Moore era? No CGI, no wire work, just daredevils and gravity.
Yes! That's one of the best things. Okay, so I'll ask a question to the audience, because me and Michael were talking about this. Of all the chase scenes, Bond has some of the best chase scenes ever. One of my favorite, for your eyes only, the chase down the Vineyards curvy road.
Yes.
When they're in that little bitty car. Yes. And love that chase scene. To this day, one of my favorite chase scenes.
Yep.
The beginning of in the Living Daylights, the going down Gibraltar.
Yes.
I mean,
that's a great one.
How can you not love that?
It's a great chase scene.
Yes.
The whole thing with the gasoline tankers and License to Kill.
Yeah.
That's a great chase scene.
And wasn't there a mess up in that? Like it wasn't supposed to be as big an explosion as it ended up being.
Yes. They said that
accident.
The locals in Mexico said that whole road was cursed. And they were like, no. And then all this bad stuff kept happening. Yeah.
Keith Holmesley says, who thinks Tom Cruise should be the new Bond? Not me.
No. Tom Cruise is Mission Impossible.
No American should ever be Bond.
No.
No. I'm sorry, no.
Okay, but I will say, and I have not made Michael watch them yet.
Oh, no.
He's
going to.
But Mission Impossible, I do love Mission Impossible. I don't like the 90s, but starting with
3,
4, and on, they've all been super good. I'm sorry, they are super good.
Him
dude, you don't have to say sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, but you need to watch. I mean, they're really good.
I've only seen the first 2, and I liked the first one, and then the second one was so bad.
Oh, it was bad.
I never
and
went
the third one was worst.
Well, that was a J.J. Abrams movie.
Well, there you go.
So that's 2 strikes for me right there.
Well, but
I literally won't watch anything.
They even started them up in a different day. It's almost like they could start over at 1 again. With not with Rogue Nation, but the one right before Rogue Nation.
Ghost Protocol.
Oh, that's my favorite one. I love that movie.
Can we get someone besides him in the movies?
Well, he's getting there really
set him
fast
on fire.
Because he's getting too old to do it.
He's also too crazy.
I will admit he is crazy.
Before we get a Mission Impossible restart, I'd really like to just get another Iron Eagle movie. Can we do that?
Actually, you know what? How would we do that, though?
I know.
All right. Scuba Pete says, what do you guys think of the copycat Bond films like Our Man Flint, etc.?
I have both the Flint films. I think they're hilarious. Those movies are great. And you ever seen them?
Never watched them.
James Coburn? Oh, man.
I need to. I need to
They're
watch them.
They're made in the 60s. You're not meant to take them seriously. They are just, like, ridiculous, as only 60s drug-using filmmakers could come up with a script. But they are so funny. Like, there's a point in one of the movies where he's leaving the main headquarters after he gets his mission, and he's headed to the elevator, and the 2 MPs standing by the elevator just suddenly, you see them start to attack him, and he goes into this wild kung fu where he just kicks their butts, and then his boss comes running out into the hallway, played by Lee J. Cobb, and he's like, what happened, Flint? And he's like, these two men, they're agents of so-and-so. He's like, and they tried to jump me. And he's like, how did you know they were agents of so-and-so? He goes, they were wearing Battle of the Bulge ribbons. And he goes, there were no ribbons for the Battle of the Bulge. And he goes, exactly. And then he just gets into the elevator. Oh, it's so great. The whole thing's so great.
Monkey Boy says, could Mark Wahlberg play the next Bond?
I
No, but we would like to hear how you would, say that, Michael.
I've had a few optional extras installed. It's a great car, man. I mean, this
It's
thing's
wicked fast.
Oh man, the Russians! There's no way the Russians are gonna stop us. I got these rockets in my headlights. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be sick, bro.
He could literally just sit there and say "sick, bro," like the whole time he's getting like all of the gadget review from Q or whatever.
Oh yeah.
If Mark Wahlberg would come up with an app that answers your robot calls,
Oh yeah,
to where
that'd be
he's
fun.
like,
That's amazing.
really? Sick, bro, sick. I mean, he would make $1 billion. I'm telling you. It would
You
you
be
can help me
amazing.
refinance my mortgage? Oh my god.
A lower interest rate?
Zigbee
Really?
Experiment says they couldn't use Spectre because of the Thunderball lawsuit. That's also why they don't call Blofeld in For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They just leave him nameless, and we all kind of know who he is, and we see him get quote unquote killed.
Yes.
The other Bond sort of not spoof, but one I wanted to bring up when that question was asked. At the same time that Harry Saltzman was launching the Bond franchise with Dr. No, he was also working with Michael Caine on the Ipcris File, which was also a series of spy novels.
I do know those.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And they were meant to be, they were dubbed by the marketers at the time, the thinking man's Bond. Unfortunately, despite the Ipcris File being really good and really interesting, and the next one, Funeral in Berlin, being pretty decent, the third one went off the rails, and it was garbage. It was called $1 Billion Brain.
Well, and I was gonna say, wouldn't those books translate into more like an Andromeda Strain movie because of the way they read?
I mean, the thing that's unfortunate is that
going from level 1 to level 2.
well, that's the problem.
Aaron is saying hello.
Oh, hey, Aaron. The problem with the third movie, the $1 Billion Brain, it was like Bond had become so successful by that point that they forgot why the the Ipcris File films were successful in their own right. So they tried to make the third movie a full-on Bond film with Michael Caine as the guy from the first two films. It's like, this doesn't work.
I don't even know that I saw the third one.
Oh, it's
What
the
about
one that ends on the
Operation
ice.
007?
Say what?
What about Operation 007? Do you remember that?
No.
The Mystery Science Theater one?
Oh,
With the-
yeah.
With the, wasn't there a guy that was, related to the 007, the actual James Bond movies that was
Well, there, George Lazenby starred as a British spy in the TV show The Master, the ninja show with Lee Van Cleef. I know that. So he did a spoof of himself. Roger Moore was in Cannonball Run.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
love Cannonball Run. How can you not like
Oh,
that?
it's awesome.
I mean,
So, all right, got lots and lots of things. Matt Movies says, Dalton or Craig, who is the better dark Bond?
This is where Tim and I got into our big fight a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, they literally wrestled.
Well, I would have lost that.
Punching.
Whatever.
I'm
You got
kidding.
the reach.
My big problem is not Daniel Craig. I don't have a problem with Daniel Craig as an actor. It's kind of like who was the guy that said, was it Gandhi that said, I don't have a problem with Jesus, I have a problem with his followers. I don't have a problem with Daniel Craig, I have a problem with his fans. Because, including Roger Ebert, I might add, the late Roger Ebert, because he reviewed Casino Royale gushing about it, and he gushed about it for all of the same reasons that 20 years before he trashed Living Daylights. All related to the performance of the character. And I'm like, cognitive dissonance, anyone?
I will say that you've changed my mind a lot on Timothy Dalton. Like I was and still am not a huge Dalton fan. I just his style of acting I just don't connect with or read into very well. But story wise, and Living Daylights is still one of the best Bond movies in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think it's great, but I do love Daniel Craig's the way he portrays James Bond.
Yeah,
So-
but you can see the Bourne influence on these movies. Like,
Oh
the
yes,
Jason Bourne thing had happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. Like,
Sorry,
Yeah.
Tim. Rebecca says, please advise to you that we have golf ball size hail coming down right now, and I'm afraid about our roof.
Great. That's awesome.
is there
Sorry.
hail going on right now?
Where they live.
Oh my gosh.
Let me check my radar.
Probably good that you're here right now.
So, sorry, I just saw that. Thank you, Tim Ward, for the heads up. I'm trying to get to all these other questions that are not super chat questions, but
Yes.
somebody is feeling real talkative today, which is kind of what we're wanting them to do, right? Okay, JD 1989 says, I feel that Roger Moore is Simon Templar and Brosnan is Remington Steele, and they were recruited by MI6 to be James Bond.
Not bad. That's actually a very interesting thought.
Zigma Experiment says, in real life, Sean Connery laid out the mafia boss who was the on-off boyfriend of the Black Dahlia.
Oh, really?
I did not know that.
Did he?
I can see him doing it.
Well, I mean, I can see him doing a lot of things. It's Sean Connery.
I mean,
come on.
Hell, he was the star of Darby O'Gill and the Little People. He can do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
The James Bond Complex says, hello, RetroBlasting crew. Why do you think Eon Production hasn't licensed more toys? What would you love to see them do for toys? LTK rocks.
I think the Bond films are, with their legacy, would be perfect. They're the perfect vehicle for high-end,
No pun intended.
for high-end Hot Toys style 12-inch figures of the different actors that played Bond.
Yes.
With a matching Bond girl-like companion to go with that set. And of course the key villain.
The period piece tuxedos.
Yes, the period piece tuxedos. I think that Hot Toys or Sideshow should be picking those up and doing them. And sadly, the few times that other companies have tried that, the face sculpting was so bad. Like they made Timothy Dalton look like Bela Lugosi. I mean, he looked like Dracula, and I'm never buying that.
Well, and I don't know. I'm trying to think if Kid Tim would have actually wanted James Bond toys, and I don't know that I would have.
I think I would
I
have
don't
wanted I think I would have wanted something like a really good die-cast scale miniature with all the pop-out gadgets on the cars.
Something like, or it might be more of a realm that instead of going action figures, that they made the gadgets that you would use, like some special binoculars or
Yes.
a utility belt that looked like a regular belt that had a boat in it or something. I mean,
It's kind of
things like that.
Kind of like how we found out that Philips actually made the keyring finder from Living Daylights.
Yes,
for
which
everybody.
was crazy.
Yeah, everybody could buy it. Yes, I'm sorry.
Mumpna the Ever Living says, fan of The Saint. First episode was the day before the first Bond.
I like The Saint as a TV show. Yeah, it's a great show. I don't own it yet on DVD because there's only so much room on my shelves right now, and there's only so much
let's
time.
be clear, we're not talking about Val Kilmer.
Right, no, we're not talking about Val Kilmer. No.
What a jerk. Keith Holmesley says, Tim Whitten, would you like Attack of the Clones if you knew Michael French before you saw it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I liked Attack
What's
of the
his favorite?
Clones. I liked it, and I just watched it last Sunday, and I'll admit there's parts of it that don't age well, but I still enjoy that movie. But you have to understand something. When I watch a movie more for scope of a story.
Right.
That's what I'm attracted to. That's why I love the giant battle scenes. I love the fact that the first time you see the clone troopers, and they're actually pseudo good guys instead of bad guys, and that's why I like it's just kind of my style, whereas Michael is he's definitely more into character and that kind of story level, kind of thing.
Which is why we thought this would be a good conversation
Yeah,
today, because
yeah.
you both like different things about the series.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Zoran79 says, is Die Another Day the best Bond game storyline?
Die Another Day, the best Bond game storyline. Well, I haven't played a video game based on Die Another Day, unless you're making a joke that it is more of a video game storyline than a real movie storyline. The Bond films, the Bond films that I've played as games are, of course, GoldenEye for N64, which was solid. I played Tomorrow Never Dies on PlayStation, and I also played from Russia with Love with Sean Connery coming back to do his voice for that game. But beyond that, I haven't played a lot of Bond games.
James says, could Bond be played by a non-British actor?
I struggle with that.
I
I'll be
don't
honest.
think so because it's MI6.
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah. I will struggle with the fact that if it's not an English or British actor.
I'm personally fine with, and I know that I'm biased, but like a woman or someone, any different race, any of that kind of stuff, because it's literally, in my opinion, very similar to Doctor Who. It is kind of an interchangeable thing. It's kind of built into the core story that's already in existence. So it kind of opens it up for us to be able to see a lot of different types of people being able to play Bond.
But it still has to be a British national.
Yeah,
I
yes.
think. Yeah.
That's the one caveat.
That's
and
the
I agree
only
Yeah.
detail that I would stick with.
Yeah.
Whatever MI6's rules for entry into
Yeah.
their thing should be the movies. So if
Right.
they change their rules about who is allowed in to MI6, because I don't know what those are, so I'm not saying that
Right.
it's only British people, but I would assume if you're a spy agency that you're not going to have like Russian people, like,
Right.
just seems like
You might think.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I've always said that I still don't think we've had a legitimate Lara Croft yet on film, because we've had an American and a Scandinavian actress.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Totally.
and both of those attempts were, I mean, they didn't do anything. So, yeah.
No, I agree with that completely.
I mean, imagine if it had been like, I'm trying to think of who would have been a contemporary. Imagine if instead of Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter, it had been like Haley Joel Osment or something. Everybody would have been mad
Wow.
because,
Yeah.
it's, and legitimately so. Yeah.
I enjoyed Haley Joel Osment in the last thing I saw him in. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm to play Harry. Let's be specific now.
Scuba Pete says, favorite Bond villain's secret base, 2 minutes and counting.
Mine's Scaramanga's. I love Scaramanga's base.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah.
That or what's his name in the Underwater City?
Oh, from Spy Who Loved Me?
Spy Who Loved Me.
I also really love... Okay, I have to amend my statement. I also really, really love Blofeld's Hollow Volcano in You Only Live Twice.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the ninjas.
With the ninjas!
But who know you could be a ninja in just 2 days of training? I mean, hello.
Well, it's
You know.
Sean Connery. All you have to do is sort of darken his eyebrows a little bit and, give him
We
a...
train you to be ninja.
Yeah. You must learn about Japan. Yeah, and the ninjas rappelling down and
Yes.
killing all the dudes with the construction. It's like a bunch of ninjas killing a bunch of Bob the Builders. It's like, ah!
All right. Vinkman says, it drives me crazy that James Bond would make a great toy line filled with great characters, cool vehicles, and even amazing playsets, but it's never been realized to its full potential.
No, they've never... And
Yeah.
I think why is because...
I mean, that Mask Boulder playset would make a great Bond
Yeah,
thing,
Mask,
right?
Mask has a lot of Bond-esque type tropes built into it, but I think it's because Bond has always... You know how we talked about a few years ago how Indiana Jones never could get a foothold in the toy aisle? Like, it never could hang on. And Indiana Jones has always been considered inspired by James Bond in a sense. I think it's because these movies very much are open about the fact that we're meant to appeal as adult adventure entertainment. Like, we're meant to appeal to a broad audience, but we're also meant to mainly appeal to people of drinking age. And you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, like, kids can get into them, but the merchandising aspect has always been a little muted. It hasn't really had,
Well, and for me, even Indiana Jones, I didn't appreciate it until I got a little older.
Yeah.
I was a little older when I really, it was great running from boulders and snakes and
Right.
golden idols. And,
You know what? That
But-
brings up a good point. One of the things that maybe is in the merchandising potential of Bond that they've never addressed, they've never really explored it, because Bond is a guy's franchise. Why do they not have a Bond line, an official Bond line of suits and ties?
That's actually a great idea.
that would go over
That would
like
be a good idea.
gangbusters.
Yeah.
That would be, a Bond fashion line for men. They'd be all over that. With
This
as
is
much as
true.
they idolize Daniel Craig at this point.
True.
Every Joe Sixpack loves to go watch a Daniel Craig movie and be like,
It's tailored.
it's tailored. Yeah.
How did you know? How did you know?
I sized you up when I saw you on the train. Yeah.
Sigma Experiment says, one of my housemates from uni worked on Bloodstone. It fits perfectly in the Craig films. Only gadgets, a phone, and a gun. Bad guy could be Blofeld.
Oh.
I have not seen it. However, my wife has been driving me crazy to watch it. So now I will have to go watch it.
Honestly, I think that's my favorite part of the Craig movies, the two that I've rewatched, is that there's barely any gadgets. If there are any, I can't.
And
think of
that's
any.
something we haven't talked about yet, right? I think that's part of where things go awry for the Pierce Brosnan movies. Is it became all about just how fantastical can we make the gadgets?
Yeah.
An invisible car.
Whoa.
Or, and I'm going to throw a book and the gun's going to blow the book out of the air. And I'm like, okay, no.
No.
I'm going to control my car with a Nokia handset phone from the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And it's a 4-door car. Also that he could sit in the back seat with that phone.
Yes.
Like it was all very purpose built.
Yeah, it got a little too much. But, again, then we go backwards in Skyfall, which was horrible. It's a radio. You push the button and talk. Okay, there are gadgets in Bond. Let's just get that straight. Yet it's not like it's one or the other. You can have a mixture.
Yeah.
Well, Michael didn't love the fact that I kind of was talking about how I hated gadgets in Bond. That's one of the things I don't like about Bond.
You're talking about a generation that spent their quarters in the arcades on Spy Hunter because Spy Hunter was inspired by Bond gadget cars. I love the idea of my car. Look, every guy who's ever seen a Bond film and has been
that's
stuck in
fine.
traffic has wanted machine guns and
missiles.
caltrops. And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott says, short of Star Wars, has any franchise ever kickstarted a whole genre overnight the way Bond did? Bond-style stuff is still going 60 years later.
Yeah, I think Bond is probably
I think it's comparable.
easily
comparable.
Bond has survived 2 studio failures.
This is true.
United Artists and then its parent company MGM is now just basically a holding company for Bond.
Yes.
It has survived that. It's endured and changed and adapted, decade after decade, with only a few legal hiatuses. But otherwise, I think Bond is far more durable than some of the franchises that we as Gen X identify with.
George Aiken says, if you Americans had Bond cars, your freeways would look like a Mad Max movie. You're not wrong, man.
Yeah,
You're not
that's true.
wrong.
We were just talking about that, and it would always be Generation X that would be the first ones on the road.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thomas says, I apologize if this has been asked already, but what was your first Bond theater-going experience? Mine was View to a Kill.
Mine was License to Kill.
I don't think I've
Mine
ever
was-
seen Bond in the theater.
I think it was For Your Eyes Only. Yeah, it was For Your Eyes Only was my first Bond theater experience.
Maybe I saw the first Daniel Craig movie in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have. That's
Yeah,
the only
I've
one I've ever seen. in
I've
the
seen License to Kill in the theater. I was very upset that I tried to go see GoldenEye and it was sold out. I fell asleep during Tomorrow Never Dies. I saw World Is Not Enough in the theater. I saw Die Another Day in the theater, and I saw Casino Royale in the theater. Those were the 5 that I've seen in the theater.
Scuba Pete says, "How about that standard issue case in From Russia with Love?"
Oh yeah, the briefcase that has the attaché case that has all the knife pop out of it.
Oh,
and
yeah, where it shows up later when he gets in Die Another Day. When
Right.
he walks in, he's like, "Kapring."
Yeah,
it's all rusted out.
And he's like, "Look, Bond, if you pull this ribbon out, you'll have extra coins," which would be very useful right now.
Right.
oh, yeah, no kidding. That'd be like, yeah.
So
Wow, nice, babe.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Wilson Tortosa says, now that you mentioned it, was there ever a 12-inch Action Man type toy of James Bond ever released?
Not that I know of.
not that I'm aware of. I know that they have done prestige 12-inch Bonds of Connery, Moore, and Dalton, but like I said, I don't think they looked very good, and that was several years ago. It would be really nice for Hot Toys or somebody to do that. There's a company in England called Big Chief Studios, and they do 12-inch Hot Toys style for Doctor Who. And I'm shocked that they haven't done Bond. If they have, I'm not aware of it.
I think there's a couple of statues that were done from years ago, but that's the only thing I remember.
A lot of the
being
things
done.
they focus on are the cars.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they focus on like there's a company called Auto Art. They do high-end 1/18 scale car replicas with all the moving parts, and they did a Bond series.
Well, speaking of, Walther would not be a company today if it was not for Bond.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the truth. That's why the only reason anybody even knows
Yep.
those guns exist is because of Bond.
Yep.
Zigma Experiment says Bond completely changed the way action movies were shot and edited. It's the basis of all modern action cinema.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you're right. The elaborate sets and just the links they would go to. One thing me and Michael have very much in common when we were kids, that we loved all the documentaries that came on PBS about practical effects and Temple of Doom, Raiders Lost Ark, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. There was some really good documentaries. I wanted to be a special effects guy. That's what I wanted to be when I was a kid, and I wanted it so bad. But then, unfortunately, Michael went way down the path of
Jurassic Park happened right as I was getting into all the model making and learning about compositing,
and it lost all its appeal to me.
Yeah, me too.
We both do things on the computer. We both use Premiere a lot in our jobs.
Yep.
But it does not. I don't have the passion for it that I would have as a practical effect.
Yeah, I still try and do as much in camera as I can to simulate that experience.
Yes.
So like I'll do still plates to get the background so that I can mat out the push rods and stuff because I like that more in camera look to things.
Two Bob says, how different would the Bond movies be if they were American?
Well, you just got to watch Mission Impossible. I mean, that is the Americans' version of Bond. I mean, it really is. And like I was saying earlier, I mean, the later ones I do love. The last 4 of them I really enjoyed.
Stiff Kitten says, most ridiculous Bond accessory?
There's got to be some contenders in the Brosnan era.
I don't know, the You Only Live Twice, the missile cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
That just sounds ridiculous.
Well, it looked like a joint more than it did a cigarette. And they had little dart missiles that literally would, like, blow a mannequin apart. He's like, look, it's so refreshing.
You know what it sounds like is, this message will self-destruct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That one I didn't care for, but like you said...
I'm trying to... when someone asks me a question like that and there's like a bazillion different gadgets, I'm literally like trying to remember them all.
The invisible car was really bad to me.
The croc suit from Octopussy is being brought up. The wrist dart from Moonraker. The ghetto blaster in Living Daylights.
That wasn't his...
Oh, come on. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome, and it wasn't his gadget. That was just in Q's lab. He didn't carry that on a mission.
They were making it for the Americans, remember?
That's...
Wicked Person says, Rift-Track's Casino Royale is awesome. Bond smash when Craig smashes through the wall. That sounds great. I really
that actually does sound great.
And then Worldwide Cock says, I'm here late, but I'm here just in time to say Lazenby forever.
Yeah, because...
You got to go back and rewatch what we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Nobody here hates Lazenby. We're just not warm to the movie that he was in.
Right.
But that's not his fault.
No, it's not. Although,
right.
I mean, he showed a little attitude.
He did show attitude after the fact because of his agent giving him bad advice, and his cinematographer on that movie did not do the movie itself any favors with the very late 60s stylized sped up action and stuff. It's like, dude.
Juan says, do you prefer a grounded in reality Bond or a more escapist choose your adventure travel channel outlandish save the world Bond?
Wow.
That's very specific.
I mean,
Juan.
that's a span like this, man.
I mean,
my preferences have always ended up being, this is just how it all fell out for me. I love Goldfinger, and the plot doesn't involve saving the world. Okay. I love For Your Eyes Only. Plot doesn't really involve saving the world that I recall. But I do love Spy Who Loved Me. But again, I like it for different reasons. I love The Living Daylights and License to Kill, and I like GoldenEye. All plots that don't involve saving the world. I like Casino Royale.
Yes.
So maybe that's your answer, you know?
You don't like those out of control big plots in general in
No.
any movie.
I love somebody who loves the big plots. I will say my favorite Bond of all time is Casino Royale, and it, to Michael's point, it is a very grounded Bond.
I love that it is a small story
Yeah.
that I don't, because when you start getting into like the whole world's gonna blow up, it's like my suspension
That's fun
of
for a
disbelief
different.
is
It's
just
it's
not
those
there.
are fun for a different reason.
But I have to, as I said with the Lair thing, the Evil Villain's Lair, I'm going to come back to the same movie. I do love You Only Live Twice because Blofeld is, if it's Blofeld wanting to take over the world and he's got a hollow volcano, I'm there. I'm like, all right, sold. You know, like
Master Painter says, should there be a movie adaptation of the Mad Magazine feature Spy versus Spy?
I would be.
They've actually been trying to do that for years.
That would be a very short movie.
Do you guys remember like a thing, Red versus Blue, back in the day that was kind of
It's
like...
still around, and that's Halo. But yeah, it's still around.
Yeah.
It's pretty
my
great.
kids love that.
I call it the Warthog.
But actually, I want to say I do remember that they have actually been trying to make a on-screen adaptation for Spy versus Spy for a long time. They just can't figure out how to do it for a very good reason, right?
My favorite.
Colt says, will you be seeing the new Bond movie in the theater when it's released? I don't know if any of us will be.
Right.
So...
Yeah,
Wah, wah,
unless
wah.
unless I get that breather from Thunderball.
No, I'm going to be Bane.
Ah, Mr. Bond, I see you've come to the theater.
I
Keith
can't
Helmsley-
eat my whoppers with this mask on.
Keith Helmsley says, Bond question, is the series supposed to be fantasy or cartoony? When Brosnan jumps out of a plane onto a dirt bike in midair, ruins Bond for me, LOL.
Well, that's
I would-
we're talking. You mentioned Brosnan, and again, yeah,
Nothing
don't-
against him.
Nothing against him, but the writers
not
at
his-
that time.
It's
Yes.
never the actor's fault.
Right.
With very few exceptions, like Tom Cruise,
I would like to point out.
in
that
which is always his fault.
I would like to point out that once again, as we've said, GoldenEye stands alone from his other three films. GoldenEye was supposed to ostensibly be a Dalton third. GoldenEye was directed by Martin Campbell, who directed Casino Royale.
Pop-up video comment, GoldenEye is a nickname that I have for Winston, my cat.
That's actually great.
Yeah, he's got golden eyes. So, Werewolf by Lunchtime says, would you like to see a Doctor Who Bond Trek crossover? That sounds
Wow.
very complicated, but...
I think my head would spin. And
Yeah.
I mean, it has, all of those have potential for being bad, and when you put them together...
I mean, I can't imagine Bond being patient enough with the Doctor.
I feel like I could see Doctor Who and Trek
I don't
crossing
know
over more
though,
than
but
Bond
you
being.
put old Picard up against any of the Bonds, and it's going to be very interesting. Number one.
Well, I can see Bond getting along with Picard. I can't see him getting along with the Doctor.
Oh,
Let's
no.
see how many times you regenerate. You know, like he just gets sick of him.
People saying to leave Tom out of this. Look, you're going to be openly in a cult, then you just, I mean,
Oh my gosh,
You
you're
just-
so right.
I don't care, Scientology. I don't care.
Neither do I. Trust me.
I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and my YouTube channel is going to be shut down mysteriously.
Mega Commandy says, Major Dad Bond crossover? Worldwide Cock says, Campbell also directed Green Lantern, so batting average?
Now, there you go.
All right, so that does effectively wipe out most of his attaboys. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I think I have a couple of super chats here that I
You're
need to
welcome,
read. So
Ken.
Vinkman says Hasbro did make 12-inch Action Man James Bond figures in the late 90s that were only available in the UK. They were generic Action Man figures wearing different outfits from the films. So
Okay.
there's
Well,
really
look,
no
there
way
you go.
you
You
would know
predicted
about it. That's really weird. And then KJ says, On Her Majesty's Secret Service was absolutely a top Bond film. Peter Hunt should have directed more 007 movies.
I know a lot of people love that movie. I can't get into a movie where there's a ski lodge at the top of the hill where there's all these like hypnotized women and they're feeling Bond's thighs under a table and Telly Savalas gets into a bobsled race.
I like Attack of the Clones. It's okay.
I'm not
all I'm
saying
gonna
that
say.
you're wrong. I'm just saying you know, your attempts to sell me on it are admirable, but probably not going to be successful.
Let me go ahead. As somebody who's been Michael's friend for a very long time, I have made him watch things, and shockingly, he didn't like them. And shockingly, when I thought he would hate them, he ended up liking them. So you never know where Michael's going to go.
But he will tell you
just
what he
don't know.
truly thinks.
Oh, yes.
Even if he thinks he's going to hate it, if he ends up liking it, he'll be like, you know what?
He'll be the first one to tell you know what, I was wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
he will be the first one to do it.
Yeah.
Venom is a good, because...
I didn't think I would hate them. I just said I had no opinion on it.
Exactly.
Right.
You just didn't know. But
Right.
I actually have... Didn't like it the first time. I've fallen in love with it later, and I made Michael watch it, and he was like, you know what? Actually, a well-done movie.
Yeah, it's fine.
So
Benazir Galpsy. Sorry, I'm not saying that right. It says favorite Q.
Oh, I like Desmond Llewellyn.
Yeah.
I like Desmond. I mean, I like John Cleese, but he wasn't, again, provided good movies to be in.
Right.
The new guy is not very memorable.
At all.
I really think if they wanted to do a really good Q that's as memorable as Desmond, they need to get Richard Ayoade to play Q.
Oh my
that's
God, that would be
interesting.
so good.
That is interesting.
I
But
think-
you know what?
Would be so
That's
good.
the only thing about the Pierce Brosnans that was sad, was seeing Q the last time.
Yes.
When he's like, if I've ever taught you, what was he say? I've only taught you two things, Bob.
Everyone's
Right.
saying yes.
Yeah. Always have an escape route.
Always have an escape route.
Yeah.
And he goes into the floor, and then at the very end of the movie, you see that he died during the production.
You
Yeah.
have to explain who Richard Ayoade is.
Richard Ayoade, he plays Moss in the IT Crowd, but he's also a prolific writer of comedy books. Like he writes comedic books, and he also
And he's on Graham Norton all the time, and he's hilarious.
he's on Graham Norton a lot,
or
and
he was when we still could have.
he also
Graham
does
Norton,
this.
yeah.
He also does this really hilarious travel show where he.
Oh my God, that's so
where,
good.
Yeah, he gets a celebrity like Paul Rudd or somebody to go with him to like Sweden, and they just spend like a
But then they just do boring things.
well, that's part of the joke. like
they don't
spend
do
like
tourist things. It's so great.
They spend like 48 hours just doing all
It's
the normal.
so surreal, is what you're saying. That's
Yeah, but it's very funny.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love
He's
it.
also a director. Submarine Stuff Kittens points out. So, Kal-El48 says it's great to see you in front of the camera for this live stream, Tim. Thanks for all you do for the RetroBlasting channel.
Thank you.
He's a valuable and irreplaceable asset to this
Thank
crew.
you.
Agree.
I agree.
All right, so let me go back over here. Saturday Morning Fan says, didn't Atari 2600 have a James Bond game?
Did it have a James Bond game?
I can't remember if it did.
It had a version of Spy Hunter.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being specifically James Bond, but
James Bond 007, 1983 Atari.
Okay, hey,
So,
trust me.
Yes.
There was only about a
according to the
million Atari
Googles,
games.
Yes. I don't think I have that one, although I do.
It
have
sounds like it did about as well as E.T. So
Jason says Tim is such a value add.
Oh.
Oh, that really means extra for you, doesn't it, Tim?
it does.
Do you know what the travel show is called? I can't remember.
The what?
The travel show with Richard Ayoade.
Oh, I'll look it up here real
Hang
quick.
on, I'm looking it up. Travel Man.
Travel Man, that's what it's called.
Okay, so Lisa says, Michael, did you ever see The Persuaders with Roger Moore and Tony Curtis? Oh, Tony Curtis, your favorite actor, Michael.
I know of
Persuaders?
the Persuaders. I know of that movie. I have
think
not
I've
seen
heard of
it
that
though.
one. Yeah.
Max Impact 24 says, question, most underrated Connery Bond film?
Oh, Live and Let Die.
Connery Bond film.
Oh, Connery. That's right. Sorry. Diamonds Are Forever?
Yeah, that would be the easy, the not easy, the obvious one because it happened after Lazenby. It was like, please come back for at least one more.
Plus, it had James Dean as
Yeah,
as the
whoever that guy was.
the guy was a white the guy in the tower.
Right.
White House, White Horse. Something.
I can't remember. See, I haven't. That's one of the ones I've seen the least. That one and Octopussy are the two I've seen the least.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Um,
But I do like Diamonds Are Forever. I think that has a great Bond lady in it. I think that was one of the first times you saw a Bond girl play such a pivotal role. Like, she was tough. She knew her stuff. She was, she had it going on.
Jill St. John.
Yeah, she did really great in that movie, I thought.
Worldwide Cock says, sorry if this has been discussed already, but have y'all read Roger Moore's Live and Let Die diaries? They were recently back in print and amazing.
I haven't, but I've heard they're
Yeah.
really entertaining. I haven't read them myself. I'm actually gonna start reading this for my eyes only, which is everybody talking about John Glenn's contributions as director of many Bond films from the Roger Moore era through Timothy Dalton. So that's going to be my next Bond read, but I'll definitely pick up those.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Because one thing, I mean, of all the Bonds, I mean, the one, even though Roger Moore is my favorite, I mean, there's one truth that everybody can agree on is that Roger Moore was just a good guy.
Right.
He's just, I mean, the Bond women who talk about they had to be naked in front of him all day long, they were like, he was so respectful. He made me at ease,
Right.
just a good guy.
Yeah, Tanya Roberts talked about on A View to a Kill how she was real nervous, having to do like a long shooting day for like a love scene or something where she knew she'd have to be naked with another actor, and she, was worried that, the actor would be, not Roger Moore specifically, but given everybody's experience in Hollywood, that the person would be inappropriately flirty or say inappropriate things or whatever. And she said Roger Moore not only kept her at ease, but also flipped the script on her expectations entirely by putting her at ease by telling her hilarious and sometimes self-deprecating stories about his career.
Yes.
Like, he just told stories the whole time that had nothing to do with, nudity or anything like that. So, yeah.
Yep.
Apparently, Regis Philbin died.
What? Regis Philbin died, everybody, according to the news.
Yeah, according
Wow.
to my Apple Watch.
That's crazy.
Okay, that's sad.
It is.
Shockwave75 says, hey, I'm spending my birthday drinking tequila and watching you guys. How about a Connery happy birthday from Michael? Which is nice because this is your birthday weekend.
Yes, it is
Michael.
Michael's birthday weekend.
So what does he want me to do?
He wants you to do a Sean Connery happy birthday to Shockwave75.
How do I even do that?
You've done it before.
But
Have
to
I?
be clear, while he's figuring that out, we have several weekends that are birthdays for Michael throughout the year. They're a little necessary every now and then.
Happy birthday, Shockwave. I hope it's fun for you. That last sentence wasn't very good. The first one was better, but anyway, yeah. There are gateway words that get you into.
Just say The Rock, and then you'll get there.
The Rock, yeah, that gets you into imitations, and sometimes it takes you like a few sentences. Like when you're going in to record a voice, you have to like talk in that voice for a few minutes before you sit down and then start reading the script into camera. It's more effective that way. So sometimes when someone puts you on the spot, you can kind of flummox it a little bit.
Talk about a movie that I loved in the 90s, but it's not aged well, The Rock. And what is interesting is how Sean Connery was an MI6 operative who had been locked up for years
Right.
by the United States,
Yeah.
Illegally,
Yeah.
and he had stolen all of our secrets.
Mm-hmm.
I always found that interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so Jody says, Tim, the Timus Tim, was setting up for the stream but got himself entangled in all the cables. Help, he screamed. Michael, help. Attack with the cables.
Jody, are you here? Did you put cameras in the studio? Is that what?
Biscuit?
Jeff David Lowe says, the lion castle head behind Sean Connery looks like an ad hoc movie poster where the dragon enemy is lingering in the background. I appreciate your comments on Living Daylights versus Casino Royale.
I guess he's referring to the Cat's Lair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cat's Lair.
And then he also says, wait, we can do requests? Do a Skeletor as James Bond, but Sean Connery James Bond. Or comments on your thoughts of The Spy Who Loved Me book versus movie. Well, we're not doing book versus movie.
Yeah, no book versus
Not
movie.
today.
We have to have Harper for that.
We're doing that at a later date, but
Boy, they're getting complicated
I mean,
with
it's
these
know.
really
impressions,
like layer
man.
upon layer. I think George Aitken says, hey, let's make this a birthday live stream. What does that mean, George?
It's your birthday.
Does that
All
mean-
right, Goldfinger. I doubt the Miami police would be kind to what you're doing. Let's start losing. How about we'll start with £5 million, don't we say? I don't remember what the amount was, but that's what he would do.
Yes. Skeletor would be a great Bond villain.
He would be.
Clay 3613 says, "Is that a Chasing Amy shirt?"
No!
I think he's literally trying to pitch you.
because the Chasing Amy poster has a black and white image of her with all the other characters in color standing
Yeah,
underneath.
but she doesn't look like that chick to me.
No, this is...
Yeah, but granted, her face kind of warps when you sit down.
No,
so.
this is Kylie from her 1992 album, or 1991 album. Let's get to it.
This is the
Simon
Kylie without the
Parkin
beard.
Says, Gaelic, happy birthday to you. I am not going to try to read that, Simon, because I have too much respect for Gaelic language, but that looks really awesome, and I wish that I could say it. I wish that I could speak Gaelic.
No kidding, because it is an amazing language,
and live
isn't
there
it? Wow.
And just be there all
I
the
agree.
time.
Yes.
Yep.
So amazing.
Likewise.
Okay. So... Oh, Jason Anderson says, Moonraker Mandela effect. Did the girl have braces?
You mean Dr. Goodhead?
No. He's
Wow.
talking about Jaws girl.
Oh, the
Yes.
girl with the pigtails.
She did have braces.
Right. Her name was Dr. Goodhead.
That's
Yeah, it
just
was her
real
name.
unfortunate.
Well, then we don't want to talk about what...
No, I don't. I don't want to talk about it.
Go back to the Sean Connery days and some of those names.
No.
I must be dreaming.
I must be dreaming. You went to the same scene I went
Well,
to.
yeah. Honor Blackman, fresh off of Avengers.
I was just saying.
Okay, so I've got a new super chat from Jeff that says, thank you. As usual, one of my favorite parts of the weekend. Keep up the great retro work, and please never water down your opinions.
We won't.
I don't think he will.
Nope.
Two Bob asks, how does Michael keep his boyish figure? Well, earlier he ate pizza, so he's one of those dudes that can just kind of eat whatever he wants.
Well, but I also forget to eat a lot,
hate him.
and I don't eat much when I do eat, and
That's true.
I'm also on a consistent kind of thing because I'm not a foodie. So I do have to be careful sometimes because I'll graze too much on, like Tim Tams and things like that. So you have to be careful now that, we're all of an age. But as long as I'm careful about that, and I also try to make sure that, I know there's this running gag of Pepsis or whatever, but I usually only have one Pepsi if I have one in a day. I don't just slam sodas all the time.
I'm the bad influence on that side because I am a foodie and I make him eat in horrible places.
That's also true.
Yes.
The tree shaker says, clean shaven Kylie.
Nice.
That's called
The
out.
other shirt she does not have a beard in the other shirt, okay?
She has an Abe Lincoln, glue-on beard.
She does not.
Scooby-Doo Bond crossover, says Master Painter.
So one thing we've not talked about.
Jinkies.
Nobody's brought up Moneypenny. And talked about Moneypenny.
I did, briefly, earlier when I talked about, Tori Amos.
My question, did Bond have real feelings for Moneypenny, or was he just leading her on all the time?
Maybe it's more of an interpretation that Bond had real feelings for Moneypenny and knew that he could never provide a person with a real relationship because of his job, and so he spared her that because he loved her so much.
I don't disagree. I'm just, it's something that has always been questionable. But you got one thing I always loved about James Bond is how, especially in the Roger Moores, where he could be in the worst place possible, and then all of a sudden a wall would just open and there's an entire MI6 and Moneypenny standing there going, "Hello, James."
Oh, yeah.
And it's just,
Are you watching me the whole time?
So, one thing. So, Worldwide Cox says, no braces, my dudes. Her choppers were all clear. And
not when he first met her.
I looked it up, and it says Dolly and Moonraker never wore braces, according to the internet.
I'm gonna have to. Nope.
So this
nope.
is one
We're
of
putting
those-
that DVD. We're putting that DVD
This is
in.
one of those Mandela effect.
No,
things.
she may not have had braces the whole time, but she had braces at some point in that movie.
It says MI6 conducted a Twitter poll yesterday to ask Bond fans, this was back in 2016, what was the one characteristic that made Jaws fall in love with Dolly at first sight. Almost half 47% said it was her braces, but the character never
No.
wore braces.
I don't think she had braces when he met her. But I think by the time they made it to the space station, she had braces on. And they were pretty big. I'm putting that DVD in when we're done, and we're going to settle that one.
All right, we will do that.
I don't have that
while
one
we
yet.
Have birthday
What?
Cake.
I ordered it today.
You don't have Moonraker?
I have it on order.
Chaz-
It's coming by Prime.
We're buying the streaming version.
Chazilla says, Melinda, when will the next Dreamland episode drop? Well, I guess, is that one that we recorded and I haven't edited? Or did I send that out?
No, I don't think you have not let that out to my knowledge.
Did we record it? I honestly can't remember.
You're asking the two people who aren't on the podcast with you if you recorded it. So
I'm pretty sure that we've released the last one that we have, so we have to record another one, but I could be wrong. Actually, no. Oh, I know what happened. So I do have one that I need to edit and send out. The problem is that my computer died, and I got a new computer, and so now I have to, redo all that. So, yeah.
yes, but they have an amazing podcast. Is this the one about the movie from the early 80s?
Xanadu?
Yeah.
No, we've already released
Oh,
that
you've already
one.
released
You
Xanadu.
did release Xanadu?
Did I not?
I don't
saw
know.
it.
Which one? Okay, which
What's
one?
the last one that you guys remember? Yell it
Is
out.
Aaron not still on the stream?
I don't remember.
Okay. I don't think Xanadu.
I don't.
I don't think we released Xanadu. I don't think you did.
Okay.
Or maybe you did, but what would you have recorded after that?
I honestly am having a
moment
where I can't remember.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Everyone
Although
says,
I will
yeah,
say,
so they're saying the Burbs. So I guess I do
Yes.
still need to release Xanadu.
and
Sorry.
the Burbs one
That is
was
totally my fault.
amazing.
That is totally my fault. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. But yes.
So the next Dreamland will be about Xanadu, the Olivia Newton-John roller skate musical.
But it's not going to happen this weekend because Aaron is out of town and he does the processing on the. I've got to edit it and then he does the processing. We share the work.
No idea how happy I am.
Lisa says Dolly did have braces.
Thank you. I knew she did.
But the internet says she did not.
I'm telling you, she did.
So
She may not when he met her.
I'm looking at pictures of her. She doesn't have any. And the pictures that I'm
If
looking
she's
at,
in the yellow jumpsuit, look
there's
for
literally a whole page
about
called,
if she had
called
braces.
Mandela Effect Wiki that says Dolly's braces, and there's a picture of her with
Yeah, that's when he first met her.
no braces.
That's when he first met her,
So
when they're at Carnival. But I'm telling you, by the time they got to the space station, I'm pretty sure she had braces.
I can't make any claims about this one way or the other. I don't remember closely enough.
This is going to haunt me until I find out and figure out.
It's haunting me right now.
I don't know. I can't read all of this while we're doing this because I have to read questions. So you guys will have to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. So
Yeah.
We will have. Let's put it this way. I'll make sure there's a Patreon follow up about this.
So Tim Ward says we want a RetroBlasting Facebook post from Tim later today with screenshot.
Okay.
Done.
Show.
Lisa says I can give you a pic of her with braces. Okay. Look, I don't know. I've never seen the movie, so yes. So, Monsters, Dinosaurs, and Things Like That says, does anyone have an opinion on what gun Bond should use now? He desperately needs to ditch the PPK.
Well, I thought he had that Walther P99 or whatever it was called in Tomorrow Never Dies, and then I guess...
Well, by the time, though, I think he got to Spectre, he was using a SIG.
Okay.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, he has a SIG.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they kept updating his gun. I thought we were away from the PPK at this point.
Yeah, I think he started with one, and then he ended up with the SIG. Yeah.
It's time. Time is out.
Oh,
It's
we're at...
It's 4:02.
Oh, it's 4:02. Wow.
The last thing that I will say is Jody says that apparently the picture of her with braces is doctored. So I think you need to watch the movie, like Tim said, and look to see for yourself. We will do that. We will post it, whatever we find.
Okay.
And do you have any final thoughts on Bond?
I just my final thoughts though are simply that Bond has never been something that I hyper focus on, although this table belies that a little bit. But again, it's something that I've always appreciated being there, you know, and continuing to be there for me to pick up or put down whenever I want. It's not like, you know, Kylie Minogue's music in that way. It's always been there. It's never, you know, really forced itself into my life, but it's never gone away. And I know that's an odd sentiment to have, but
I think I feel the same way, but I think it's interesting going back to the period piece question. Even though Bond is made in the present day, they all almost become a period piece over time, and that's one of the things I love because it does bring back memories of those times and how things were back then, and that's one of the things I love so much about them. So
yeah. So
that's
that's what we have to say about Bond. Melinda, any
go.
final parting thoughts?
Well, people are shocked that I haven't seen Moonraker, but let me just tell you, like, I am not a huge Bond fan, which is why I am not presenting on this episode, because it is just not really my thing. Like, I like the newer Bonds with Daniel Craig because there's not all the gadgets and there's a lot less of the just, you know, octopusy level, like, chick names and all of that, you know, crap. It just, I just find that to be kind of not anything I'm interested in. So I do love the music from, like, the theme music, and I like a lot of the songs that different artists have created for the movies, and I like a few iconic parts, and I love the car that Michael mentioned, but in general, I think it's a little cheesy because I tend to be more of a realistic person about that kind of thing, and so, like, a spy that is very, you know, stand out in a crowd kind of guy is kind of antithetical, and it's very hard for me to wrap my mind around. So it just, I know that that's not what it's about. I get it, but that's why I'm not at the table to talk about it. So I've only seen a few of the Bond movies because I start watching most of them and I get bored and I stop.
I'm gonna have to look up antithetical when we're done because I have no idea what that word means.
Antithetical means it completely contradicts itself. It, you know, it's like an oxymoron. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
All right.
And yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you all next Saturday on the next live stream. In the meantime, I'm working on finishing up Robotech Part 4, which will be dropping this week. This past week got a little hectic while I was trying to work on it. Oh, yeah, there are no packages to open this week because of the hectic nature of getting to this point for this live stream. But there will be, hopefully, you know, that will resume next week. You know, donation openings will return in For Your Eyes Only. But I will tell you that Robotech Part 4 is happening, and I'm also working on Inhumanoids, and I'm working on Bionic 6. And we're also working on with Lio Convoy reviews.
He's not working on
the last super chat is from Michael Hinkson. He says, "What would you think of a James Bond Chuckles G.I. Joe pack similar to the Crimson Twins Tomax Samot?" That's a lot of words. I don't know what they mean.
You said James Bond what? Chuckles?
James Bond / Chuckles G.I. Joe 2-pack, similar to the Crimson Twins Tomax.
You would be getting two. You would be getting two almost identical figures. That'd be hilarious. I'd totally buy that. Yeah.
That's great.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for being here. Tim, thanks for having this conversation.
Yeah, thanks for letting me back on the show. So
you can be on the show anytime you want.
Okay.
All right, guys. You guys have a great weekend. Be safe and be healthy, and we'll talk